We're in Telemark, county in Norway, which is known for its big mountains and deep lakes and a lot of fruits and stuff like that. It's also commonly referred to as the birthplace of the modern skiing.
As the inventor of cable lifts, Bruno Rixen is a true pioneer of water skiing. During the IWWF World Championships 2014 in Norsio, he visited the owner of Norway's first cable park, Torstein Lindheim, in his apple orchard.
I tell you a story. It's a very good story about Rixen. He is the inventor, you know? He is the inventor. He knows everything when it comes to cableway. He can everything. He has never said no to nothing. Always say yes, nothing is a problem, everything can be solved.
Having Bruno Rixen here is a real honor. This is a Rixen cableway, and it has worked so well over the years, and people coming here are really happy about the size of the cable and the height of it and the pop and everything.
Water skiing without a boat? 50 years ago, this seemed to be a whimsical dream. It became reality with the creation of the Rixen Cableways. Mr. Rixen's idea gave birth to a completely new sport. During an evening get-together and a pint of home-brewed Norwegian beer, Mr. Rixen told us how it all began. I was born and raised in Großbuchwald, Germany on July 3, 1931. My family had a farm with a store, restaurant, and dance hall. My dad passed away in 1944. After the war, when I was 13 years old, my mother and I carried on his work. I became a mechanic for agricultural machines, and I also advised the farmers about the tractors they needed. That's how I earned money for my studies. I wanted to become a mechanical engineer at all costs. That's why I had to earn money for my 3 years of studying. Being 83 years old now, Bruno Rixen looks back on a long and eventful life. After a long period of developing his idea for a lift for water skiing, the German managed to realize his dream. It was not a sudden idea, but more of a long-time wish to travel over water, something I always imagined to be great. I just didn't have the opportunity to do it. Then I went on a trip around Europe in my Isetta microcar with my student friends. In the Netherlands, we saw a man water skiing. We joined him, and he gave us a chance to do a couple of rounds behind the boat. Then I began to think how I could also do this back at home, but in a cheaper way. That's when I started to build myself a cable lift.
Auf jeden Fall bin ich angefangen, für mich selbst eine Seilbahn zu bauen.
They did not understand that I wanted to build cableways for water skiing all of a sudden. In fact, water skiing was an unknown term for them. Not even skiing on snow was common back then. But I had luck that I had never seen a lift in the mountains. So I was free in all my decisions. Even when dancing, I always calculated. I always carried a pencil and a little slide rule with me. So when I had an idea, I was able to calculate if it would work or not, and also if it would be economical. So little by little, I created the structures. As soon as I knew what I needed, I started to collect the parts. I borrowed the cable from a friend, and the engine came from a Lance tractor. It had to be preheated with the bulb. There was a wheel on the side where the cable ran over. I really had to improvise. But on the day we wanted to test it, nobody was there. They had a fouling on the other side of the lake with music and so on. So I stood there alone when suddenly a man came to me and said, "I thought you wanted to try water skiing." And I said, "Yes, I wanted to." Then I asked him, "Can you drive?" "Yes," he said. "I'm the driver of the fire department." Okay, so I told him to sit down on the tractor and to press the clutch very slowly. And that's what he did. But something got caught and I crashed into the water. At the next try, though, I went straight off immediately. But when I arrived at the first corner, suddenly the cable slipped free and got slack. I still held the bar and went straight into the reeds. When I stood there in the reeds, I said to myself, the dream is over. It's impossible to go around the corners. This was the first big disappointment. I've had many very interesting discussions with Bruno, and every time it has touched me very much. He still has the fire in his eyes. He's just so enthusiastic and a tinkerer, and he never gives up. He always comes up with something new. He is really a role model for me. Bruno taught me that it's important to enjoy what you do, that you have to be totally convinced of yourself and what you do. If you don't like what you do, you shouldn't do it just for the money. Bruno has never done all this only for the money. He did it simply because water skiing was fun, and he wanted to find a cheaper way to do it than riding behind the boat. When he saw how people loved it, he was over the moon. I calculated on paper how it would be possible to get around the corners, how the speed changes when you turn. Then we put some cans on the water to mark the perfect line around the corners. You can see it here. We have 2 buoys, so you can't go too far out. Today, this matters, of course. In 1958 or 59, I thought about how I could prevent the cable from twisting around itself. It turned out that there is no way to change this. It's always like that when you put weight on a cable. Then it always starts to twist. The cable always tries to straighten its lay direction. Another factor was friction. When the cable furled on the wheel, it rolled back inside. I could not change this. The crucial idea was the 2-cable principle we still have today. This was a really important invention. The lay direction of the upper rope is right. It wants to twist to the left. The lay direction of the lower one is left. It tends to twist to the right side. Both almost compensate, though not entirely. Technically, we had no major setbacks. The Cableway is a really simple construction. First of all, because I had no money, and secondly, because I came from a farm. It's as simple as an agricultural machine. I built my first cable lifts in Niendorf near Lübeck, and then in Benidorm, Spain in 1965. The other lifts before were nothing but prototypes. After Bruno's invention, interest in water skiing rocketed. Soon, the first competitions were held. All around the world, cable parks began to pop up like mushrooms. Then, in the 1990s, a new kind of sport emerged: wakeboarding. Bruno Rixen has had a huge influence on the wakeboard scene. The lift has really gained ground in the scene, while the boat has become less and less interesting. Even the American boat fans are starting to use lifts a lot.
He did a great job for the whole water sport, not only wakeboarding, also water skiing, and you name it, kneeboarding, everything.
For his age, he's still such a cool guy. He's so relaxed and really interested in the young scene. Honestly, you don't see this very often. He's just a cool guy. 83 years and still water skiing. Yesterday, a woman came to me after I had just skied a couple of rounds on the monoski. She said, "You saved my life. I have started a new life only because of the cable lift." The motivation the sport gave to people was crucial. It was crucial to recognize how much fun the users have. They don't have fun because of the technology, they have fun because the Cableway allows them to practice this sport. And that's the only thing that counts. It has brought us a lot of joy to see how much fun people have. And indeed, people have a lot of fun when wakeboarding. Sit back and enjoy these beautiful images.
Bruno has definitely changed everything, you know. I don't think cable wakeboarding would ever be what it has become if it wasn't for him. And yeah, we should really appreciate what he did for us.